Everybody's favorite squid boy.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Yeah, rather you not drink. Need you sober.
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
How many points out of 3?
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
I saw people in hoods. They had stolen Mrs. Hawkins' paintings.
Who are you talking about? Why would they do such a thing?
I don't know, but they were a threat.
Because they're
They'd
weirdos.
taken over the caves under the mansion. They were performing some kind of ritual. One of the entryways was under Charles Hawkins' office.
We suspect Mr. Hawkins of being involved.
My patients believe the old Highlanders used to worship primitive sea gods. Could they be the focus of the cult?
Am I hearing this right?
So you think me gullible?
No, not at all.
What else did you uncover, Mr. Pierce?
Oh,
Seems you two know each other pretty well.
It's a tiny island.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows everyone.
Sure.
Especially since I'm a police officer and Marie's a doctor.
Uh-huh.
The chemistry is obvious.
I do seem a little bit stupid, don't I?
Uh-huh.
Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
Huh. Okay.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on it.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
Seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
the rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
What?
Everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes. I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. And I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller, and a nurse. Blood everywhere. My legs, the pain, I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
Something I did
When I
not
woke up
consent
the
to.
second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course. He's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins. And that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I didn't
With the
see
Shambler.
blood, but something was there with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Well, Mr. Sanders
Francis
received a
Sanders
painting
mentioned
for
Mrs.
free.
Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
He's right.
I don't like
We
lying.
can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness than ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Shouldn't you just come with me so that we could avoid that entire process? I mean, you're a cop. You can just, you know, wish him away, I guess.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
Oh, okay, so she knows.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other?
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings.
Oh my god, look at that tooth gap. Holy shit.
Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
He started raving, screaming that a dimensional shambler had found him.
Mercy, that story again. Why have him interned?
That was when he began to convulse and twist with pain. Or terror, it's hard to tell.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not really sure of what I saw, or what I didn't see. But it's best that you weren't there.
I should have been there. What you're telling me is outrageous. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
What was I supposed to do? Exactly.
With all due respect, Mrs. Sanders, it was you who sent him to this asylum, not me.
How dare you? What was I supposed to do, detective? Upon seeing such a brilliant mind disintegrate in this way, waking with a start every night with him shrieking in horror, petrified before this accursed painting, unable to look away? Until he managed to gouge his eyes out with his own hands. I should have listened to Dr. Fuller. Let him intern him months ago. If I am to be condemned, it is because I did not act sooner.
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs. Sanders.
Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
I expect you not to be an asshole, but, you know, sure.
I deduce that your husband already mentioned this dimensional shambler.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives. Did she really care for him after all? Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
Francis, I should never let them take you away. What have I done? Everything is my fault.
Yep. Not everything, but yeah.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close.
Mm-hmm.
Friends, even?
Probably more than that.
A house of artists. Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She didn't want Sanders to have the painting. She must have felt devastated. Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins?
Most likely. She's a fat pig compared to, Sarah Hawkins. Just saying, She's not exactly thin, and she can't really compete.
The Shambler. I need to see it.
I'm wondering, is there something to unlock here?
A strange Amerindian pendant. I could use one of those. Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Okay, what am I doing? I really feel like there's something to unlock here, but... Whatevs. Whoa. That's fucking cool. Whoa. Oh, it's a squid mommy holding a baby. That's cool. Good lord.
The public entrance to the gallery. The man transforms an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery. Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Ooh, I like this one. Twisty. Twisty, twisty. Oh, what the fuck? This thing is just creepy. Okay. Spiky. It's a squid lion. Honestly, I don't even blame him on collecting this weird shit. If I was ever rich, I'd probably want this shit in one part of my house. Just have one big ass office with all this cool shit. Shit just looks awesome. Oh my god. Good lord.
Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it?
Well, he's saying he wanted the painting destroyed. He figured the painting could be destroyed by fire. Is that it? No, it's not it. It's only 2 tentacles. Okay, so it's...
Why was he so interested in old weapons? Why was he so interested in old weapons?
I mean, clearly it's an important dagger. I do not consent. Yeah, I do not consent. It has no eyes. It's a lot of teeth, man. You see a dentist. Holy fuck.
What the hell was that?
If I don't look at it, it won't notice me. Alright, so that dagger, that 2 tentacle dagger, is really important. No, it's not glowing anymore.
Damn. This dagger looks different.
Ooh, run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes, bitch! Oh, chop off that hand, bro. You gotta chop off that hand.
What's the matter?
I guess not. I guess you don't have to chop it off.
Don't tell me that you're going crazy, too.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
That fucking
Sanders was
creature?
right. This painting is cursed.
What are you talking about?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
I ran, screamed, broke a pane of glass. You were in the next room and you didn't hear a thing.
If I hadn't heard a thing, I'd still be in the other room. The door was blocked. I got in as soon as I could. I like to look after my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary...
Okay,
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater.
I will keep the
He'll
dagger.
tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
The creature. This dagger was the only weapon capable of pushing it back. If Hawkins was trying to get rid of this shambler, she might have made contact with Drake. This antique dealer has a good knowledge of the occult. I have nothing to lose by meeting him.
You've got your spunk back. Go where you want. I'm staying here to talk business with Irene.
The Nameless Bookstore. That's actually a cool name. That sounds cool. Oh, that window's broken.
Where's the bookseller? Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century. An old diary.
Okay. So a priest, devout in faith, just gave up that faith for a pagan god. Okay. What else, man? What else? Whoever floats his goat, man.
What does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge.
That's cool. What else, man? What the fuck is that? Are those dead roaches? Dead roaches and some algae. That's cool.
What happened here? Let's start over. Where did they... Blood. Seems like amateur work.
Mm-hmm.
Someone tall left this footprint. A man, probably. This burglar seems to be rather clumsy. What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime? What killed all these animals? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the... Charles Hawkins? Looks like the symbol rejected Hawkins. Where did I see it? What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe.
Is that what I think it is? Oh no.
Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case. Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
If somebody finds these memoirs, there will be no doubt that I'm in serious trouble. My last and only hope is that my body and bones are still in this plane of reality, in order that they be recovered and burned. The funeral urn must be given to my dear mother, if she is still of this world. Following message is of capital importance. Whoever reads these lines demonstrates acuity as sharp as mine. I can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It lies within my safe, and the clues to the combination can be found on 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combine in Greek world. Okay, each cylinder is numbered, even if, as the celebrated author says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of imagination. Indeed, despite my preference for organized chaos, I must admit that reason usually prevails in the end. If by chance a person, or should I say genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask that they deliver the content into safekeeping by my friend and colleague Professor Armitage of Miskatonic University. The contents of this safe is not only a vast digest of knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall into the wrong hands. Okay. More medical knowledge. That's cool.
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills? What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet?
Okay. So, wow. We'll come back to that. That seems like a lot.
Arkham editions. Never heard of him.
Oh.
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
Possibly. Probably. Eight more.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secret.
Okay. I'll install them. Fuck it.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research.
Oh,
I never tire of browsing through them.
I'm sorry, they outright said a god's name. Okay.
The Queen has little protection.
Okay, so we're counting the white pieces. There's 4, but it said those that are protecting the White Queen and still standing. Alright, so the ones off the chessboard are taken out. So there's only 3. Okay.
The Chalice of Knowledge.
Woohoo. Chalice of Knowledge. Okay, he said red droplets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 red droplets. Okay. And okay. Guessing these are the Arkham editions, I
What
guess?
did Drake say about this collection?
Volume 3.
Drake talked about a particular...
Volume
so
1.
these are the volumes.
Volume 2.
What did Drake say about this
Volume
collection?
7. That's 5 up there.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
It's 8.
So these are the volumes that Drake was
6.
talking about. What did Drake say about this collection?
4.
Drake
That's
talked
9.
about a particular volume.
That's 6.
So these are the volumes
9.
that Drake was talking about in his message.
There's nothing written on it other than the number 9. Okay. What ifs? So we had 5 droplets, 3, 2 knights, and a rook, and number 9. Hey! Oh, tell me that's not the Necronomicon. Oh. What knowledge do you possess, book? Oh. Oh no. Oh, good God. Oh, wow, this is... Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Is that what we're doing now? Well, I think I better stop here. Yeah, I'm gonna stop here. I gotta use the bathroom.